Hi there, it's Rob and welcome to this episode number 144 of Tetrakey TV. Coming to you today from my office. I don't know what time it is, 6 p.m-ish. And I wanted to talk to you about something today that's been bugging me for a while, but not bugging me in a bad way, just in terms of something that I've wanted to discuss and share with you. Because quite likely it's actually one of your blocks, one of the things that's getting in your way in terms of progression. And that is the fact that on occasions everything can change for you, but everything can remain the same at exactly the same time. And so the first time I experienced this was when I went traveling with my kayak in my late teens to the Himalayas, and back in the UK at that point in time, I had a group of friends, family. I had a social life. I had a whole series of things that I did, things that I enjoyed, and then I went away and I went and spent a large chunk of time in a third world country. I kayaked every single day, and those months, and it really wasn't that long the first time, just a couple of months went by, and I had a great time. But when I got back to the UK, I noticed that everything was the same, yet everything was different. And I wonder if you've ever noticed that with the people about you. And what happened in that time is I'd grown, I'd had new experiences, I learned stuff, I'd found stuff out about myself, I had some pretty scary experiences as well. And yet everybody else for that short 8-week period had carried on doing what they always do in the same way. They hadn't grown, they hadn't changed, they'd had the same almost groundhog 7-day routine, keep cycling around. And suddenly I found that I won't say I didn't fit, but it was really, really, really weird. I couldn't explain to those people what it is that I'd been through, what it is I'd learned, what it is I'd experienced. And when I tried, they just didn't get it. Almost like I didn't have the words and they didn't have the life experience or world experience to engage with it. And there was suddenly this not macro mismatch, but this slight mismatch between us. And so over a period of time, I went about, I suppose, readjusting myself to fit back into their 7-day cycle, the same 7-day cycle I've happily been part of. And it didn't feel right. Something felt wrong. I felt like I was killing myself slowly, like slowly destroying myself inside. Now, quite luckily, I suppose, shortly after that, I had another opportunity within months to go away again and to go kayaking again. So off I went again. And this time when I came back, the difference was there again, but this time the difference was a bit more. And all of those people, their lives had carried on going, the groundhog 7-day cycle that most people seem to sit in, almost like they're watching their life on a TV screen. And I came back, and yet again I'd been to another third world country. I'd been to Africa for the first time, and so everything was different for me. I'd learnt stuff, I'd seen stuff, had my eyes opened wide to stuff, I'd done all sorts of things, and yet everything was the same when I got back. Now, these experiences have set me thinking about what performance acceleration really means, what living your dreams really means, what going after all those things that we say we want really means, and what's the blocker that stops us from doing it. And I think that the blocker from doing it isn't a conscious thing. I think it's our desire to fit in. And so we go and have an experience that enables us to grow, enables us to make significant decisions. And then after that experience, we go back to the normal environment that we've resided in beforehand, and suddenly we feel that we don't fit in anymore. We don't fit in into that place that once was dear to us, and so what we start to do is we start to try and fit back in again. The problem, of course, is that none of what we were fitting in with has changed, and therefore none of what we were fitting in with had enabled us to achieve our goals, our strategies, our targets before, and is unlikely to enable us or support us or work with us to do that in the future. So all we do is we do this curve up, we learn stuff, we grow, we return back to our environment, and then we drop. And often I see clients and I see people who have this repetitive cycle: learn, grow, drop, learn, grow, drop, and they frustrate themselves. They're forever going on personal development courses, business courses, all sorts of experiences, traveling, trying to grow, trying to push forward, trying to achieve their goals, and they still don't. They still frustrate themselves, and after a while they just give up because it's too hard. And so I believe that it's this desire to fit in with what is norm, that is the block that's holding us back. Back in my younger years, I worked as a social worker, and we worked with some of the south of England's most at-risk 18 to 21-year-old young men who'd all been in a Young Offenders Institute at least once, if not 3 or 4 times. We'd do amazing work with them. We'd enable them to see their world in a different way, to engage in the world in a way that was useful to them and useful to the rest of the world as well. And then the distressing thing was, slowly but surely, they'd return back to where it is they came from, and they'd end up back into the same old cycle. And isn't that what happens to you? Isn't that what happens to many of us? So here's the thing I'd like you to think of, is I'd like you to get ahead of your own curve. I'd like you to consider, what are the experiences that you're going to have in the next month, 3 months, 6 months? What are going to be your peaks? And then when you return back to that usual environment afterwards, the environment maybe of home, the environment maybe of family, the environment maybe of friends, what is it that you're going to do to ensure that you still love, like and respect that environment and those people, yet don't go and take yourself back down to doing what they do on their groundhog pattern, and that you keep on living that growth, keep on living that performance acceleration, keep on living that development to ensure that you go and get to go and achieve your goals and your dreams. Now you may say, well, isn't that selfish? Aren't I just cutting people off or cutting people back who previously were significant to me? And the answer is, maybe for a short time you are. But also maybe, just what if, think about this for a second, what if you're showing to them that actually dreams can come true? That goals are something we can set and achieve and make sustainable? That growth and development of thought actually is something to be embraced as opposed to something to be shied away from? That actually change is a positive as opposed to something to be worried about? And that Groundhog Day really is a recipe for never really achieving anything new in your life. So just have a little think about that. Have a think about how it is you're going to manage those situations when you get back to that environment, having gone through that growth experience. Get ahead of your own curve, put some things in place to support yourself, and keep on realising your dreams. That's it from me. That's it from this episode of Tetrakey TV. I look forward to coming to you soon, and I hope you have an amazing 24 hours further. Stay well.